everybody, hope you're well. You join me and them there Whippets to have a look at EcoFlow's new River 3 Plus. This is a special piece of kit. We're seeing lots of power packs of this sort of size being developed now, and I think this one's topping the tree at the moment because, as well as being expandable, it's got some interesting features on it. And these are going to retail in the UK. They're not out yet when I'm filming this, but by the time this comes out they'll be launched. I think they're just going to be over £200, about £210, £220. But check below for all the information and everything else. But this is a small power pack that's expandable, and it has their X boost. So we'll have a look at all the specs and everything, and then we'll see how good the X boost is of boosting the power. Now, the X boost is a system where it drops the voltage and ups the amps. So it allows a small powered unit like this that normally gives off about 600 watts to double its power. And we're going to test it on our new oven, cooker, air fryer combination unit to see if this, on its X boost, can do as a fish finger sandwich, because that's what we eat in camper vans, isn't it? But first of all, let's have a look at the spec. Quite a stylish looking piece of kit, nice and flat on the top, no through charging on this one, hidden handle, and on the front here you have a mains AC output with a switch for it, your mains on and off button, USB-A, USB-C at 100 watts and another USB-A, and then you have the standard cigarette socket, I think that's running at 8 amps, and an on-off button for the DC side of things, and then the lights on the front, which gives a low light, brighter light and a flashing light. But it's super small and extremely quiet. It's got fans on either side, but it's super quiet when it's running, and you can put it into a silent mode as well. So as I say, this gives off about 600 watts. But on the back of it has two more outlets for AC and where the inputs are, and normally I wouldn't like that, but I think this one's actually designed to plug things into this and leave them in there if you have it on your desk, and run the cables out the back so they're out the way. Still fit in a cupboard. You'd put your leads in and then link them under there so they come out the front. So it's well thought through, and I believe, as well as your normal cigarette car charging lead for 12 volts, you can use this with an adapter lead to EcoFlow's alternator charger as well. Doesn't come with a power brick, it just has a mains lead, as you'd expect with a quality product. But this one's also expandable, and there's no leads for the expanding it. The bottom has this rubber plug you take out, and this unit here is the connector for the expanding battery. And they do two sizes of battery, I believe, for this. So they do one that's about nearly 300 watts and they do one that's nearly 600 watts. Plugging our 600 watt kettle in that is no problem whatsoever. Plugged into the socket there. Obviously I could have used the two sockets on the back, and I think this would be a good setup. So if there's things you're running all the time, you'd have the sockets plugged in at the back, your plugs plugged in at the sockets at the back, so they're out the way, not on display, and then you've still got a spare one on the front. So it's going to boil that for my cup of coffee, no problem whatsoever. And of course you've got your other chargers on there for laptops, phones, anything else, and you also still have the traditional cigarette lighter socket on there, which still a lot of appliances use, so it's good to see. And there's enough water in that to make nearly 3 cups of tea, or coffee if you prefer. Now this is going to be the test. As they're waiting for the kettle to boil, shouldn't take long. In the box you get the instruction book, you get a communication lead, so if you're using it with a laptop or a piece of device that requires that communication. You have the mains lead, which is the typical kettle lead with no power brick, of course. People always ask me what this is. That's a Faraday coil, so anything that uses electricity gives off a frequency, and that dumbs the frequency, stop it being picked up by anything. And you get a 12-volt lead that you can use to charge it from your cigarette socket. It'll obviously take a long time to do that, but you can put power into it as you're driving along. And it does through charging as well, and it's got uninterrupted power supply setting on it that's super fast, just under 10 milliseconds. So if you have a piece of equipment that you don't want to lose its power, you'd plug this into the mains, and then you'd plug your power, the unit you want to run constantly on here, and if the power goes off on the mains, this unit will switch over in under 10 milliseconds to still give you power. So not as important if your kettle's going to boil and switch off, but if you're using a piece of medical equipment or technical equipment like a computer, this would stop the power switching on and off. So if you're prone to power cuts, this uninterrupted power supply switches over in literally under 10 milliseconds, which is extremely fast. Majority of products do it in just under 20 milliseconds. So it's got some fancy electronics in this. So there's the kettle just coming to a boil, and it's down to 81%, and there's enough water in that to make nearly 3 cups of tea, or coffee if you prefer. Now this is going to be the test. This is our place unit, and we bought one of these for the cottage because we switched the Aga off in the summer because it's too hot, and we've been using this for all our cooking in the cottage. Now this runs at about 1300 watts, which is slightly higher than the X Boost will allow for this, but I'm hoping it will just allow this to run. It will take a little bit longer for this to cook things, but if this can run that is very impressive. So this is an air fryer. You can bake on it, you can grill on it, you can roast things on it, you can reheat and you can toast stuff, and it's got a temperature control and a timer. And you have various pans and plates that you put in the bottom there, and it's just brilliant for the camper van. We was that impressed with it in the cottage, we actually bought one for the camper van as well, and we bought one in blue to match the blue of the van. So let's see if this little power pack, and I hope this works because I'm hoping to have a fish finger sandwich. Let's see if this little power pack's got enough power to run that beast. So we've got chunky fish fingers, posh ones, on the grill. Close it up and we'll put it on air fry, full power, and we'll give it 15 minutes. Now that should go up to its maximum output, but we'll also use its X Boost setting inside, which is switched on. And that is running. The unit is not powering off. This is rated at 1300 watts. The X Boost on that is 1200 watts, so it's taking it to its limit. Now with this, as I say, dropping the voltage and up in the amps, this will take longer, but it's still doing the job. Let's see how long it is before I get my fish finger sandwich. And I think there might be a spare fish finger in there for a couple of hungry whippets, because I forgot to bring your dinner with you. It's still just hanging in there. And they are cooking. It smells delicious in here. Sorry about the wind noise, I've had to open the door because it's getting a bit hot in here. We're still going. It's really hammering this. The fan's been on and off. Extremely hot in here. It's still struggling along. It's using a hell of a lot of power. We're nearly there. I think my bread cakes are a bit small. There we have it. They're definitely cooked. It did trip off once and I had to reset it, so it just took it over the edge. And I wouldn't recommend using something as big as this with that unit, but I just wanted to test it to the limits, and it can do it. The fans are still running on that because it's very hot in here, but they're super quiet. Probably can't hear it for the noise outside. Anyway, I'm going to eat my fish fingers with a bit of red sauce, and then we'll get back to you. So we've had a fish finger sandwich. There's a fish finger cooling down for the whippets. We're reboiling the kettle to wash up. and we're at about 40%. It's done incredibly well. You having some Rose? Is it cooked enough? You're okay with that, are you? Official testers? It's good how they share food off the same plate without fighting. So let's see if it'll run the kettle, 600 watts, and a toaster. The toaster's plugged in at the back. Seems to be doing that okay. It may take slightly longer because it is reducing the voltage and upping the amps. But undoubtedly with this small unit you could cook something on a 600 watt grill, bacon, sausages, fish fingers. You could use the toaster to cook yourself some toast. You could use a hot pot, a small voltage hot pot, to cook you some beans, or beans on toast, and you can boil the kettle as well. And with it having 600 watts of output, it's also going to be good for charging things like e-bikes. So as you're driving along, you could have that plugged into either an EcoFlow alternator charger or to the 12 volt socket, and you'd have through power going through that to charge your bike or put additional power in as you're driving. But the management system in this is very good, because it did click off. I didn't get it on film, I didn't have the camera ready, and I thought I might have broken it, and I switched it off, switched it back on, it reset itself and it was okay and finished cooking. But I don't recommend that you use something over 1200 watts. But 1000 watts, you should have no problem whatsoever. What I did on this, I turned this temperature gauge down slightly, which obviously reduces the power. But if you're using 600 watt appliances like this, you're easily going to be able to cook a meal out of it, as well as charge your phone, your cameras and all your other devices. A quick look at the app, and it's EcoFlow's standard app. You can put how much is going in, how much is going out, and it monitors on this display, which is really easy to see. We'll just put the kettle and the toaster back on, and it's putting out its maximum power of 600 watts, but again that's been done through the X-Boost process. And you can switch the AC and DC off on here, and your lights can be switched on. And this, as well as Bluetooth, also operates through the internet. So you could have this set up at home and have a light switched into it, and if you wanted, you could use the app through the internet and switch your lights on and off, or just switch the light on and off for this. And you've got also, you can change practically everything in the settings. So even how the screen looks, the default settings, how fast it charges, you do your software updates through this, but everything you could possibly think of changing. And then it goes into more settings and gives you the information in relation to the history of the power, how much it's used. It's very, very clever, but straightforward to use. And you have two options now for your home page. You can have this one, which shows it slightly in a different way, still switches everything on and off, or you can have the other one that I was using earlier. That one. I prefer that one, but they're both as good as each other, both do the same job. And your power boost, your X boost, is on there as well. If you go into the input and output settings, there's the X boost. So if we was to switch that off, these two wouldn't run because they're both taking 600 watts. You can actually set things as a timer on this as well, so you can schedule things. So if you want a light to come on at a particular time, or a piece of device, or if you want it to charge from a particular device at a time, you can do that as well. So more than what you need for a unit of this size. And I suppose, like everybody, when you first get one of these, you're playing with all these features, and then you just use the basic stuff, and you forget the rest. But it's all on there if you need it. And we do have one of these to give away, and I'm pleased to report it's not the one that I've been trying to blow up. We've got a brand new one of these sat in the cottage, unboxed, still all sealed, and it's going to be our usual process. You need to be a subscriber, you need to be in the UK, and you need to leave the words "I want one" in the comments of this video. And when we do our review video in a few weeks' time, We'll show a clip of the product and a slide of the person who's actually won it. We'll check you're a subscriber, check out you're in the UK. We'll communicate through my email, onemanandhiswhippet@gmail.com. We don't ask for any payment for postage or anything. If anybody contacts you in any other way, it's purely a scam. And thanks to everybody who enters these giveaways, and thanks for all the support. We are now over 50,000 subscribers, thank you. And thank you to EcoFlow for keep producing amazing pieces of kit like this. The evolution of these power packs now are changing. It seems to be changing by the week, and they're just getting better and better and better. And they're using good batteries in these as well. This has got the LiFePro Pro battery, so you're going to get 3,000 charges and discharges before the capacity of this gets to 80%. The other thing to remember about this as well is that you can buy those backup batteries so you can boost the capacity. That's not going to give any more power out, but it'll give that power out for a longer period of time. So I like that idea for something of this size, because these just being over £200 in the UK are affordable for people, a lot more affordable than buying a bigger unit. And if you can manage this to do what you need it to do in your house, in your office, in the garden, wherever you're going to use it, in your camper van, in your micro camper, or your camping, or even on a boat, if you can manage with this amount of power, this capacity of output, you can expand it so it'll last you longer. And you can buy that other device to plug into this, and as I say, there's two sizes, you can buy those later on. So great piece of kit. It's good that it runs off solar, good that it runs off a car charger, and good that it runs off an alternator charger as well. There is a separate lead you have to buy, I believe, to run this off the EcoFlow alternator charger. But that would mean you could put this in your van and just have it there, plugged in at the back, and it would constantly give you that power and charge up really quickly. So that just leaves me to say thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. And I suppose I better take them whippets for a walk. It's really hot in here after having all that cooking equipment on. And we can't have the windows open. You can probably hear it's really windy out there. I was going to do this outside, but it's far too windy today. Anyway, do you want to go out? Want to go out? Maybe not.